Welcome to another episode of OSA Aquatics TV with me, Salty Alley, here at our Wakefield location. And today we're talking about one of the really cool fish we got in the last shipment. We got fire eels in. Despite their name, fire eels aren't even actually eels. They belong to the spiny eel family, but any fish in this family are actually not eels at all. They're elongated fish with, in this case, spines. These fish originate from Southeast Asia, and in the wild they can get up to 3.3 to 3.5 feet long. Yeah, feet. That's how big these guys get. In captivity, it's not as common, unfortunately. You typically see them more around 2 feet, 2.5 feet, but that's still a very, very big fish. In that case, these fish require a minimum tank size of 120 gallons, but of course, bigger would always be better. Ideally, a 6-foot tank is best. As these fish get long, they also get very big around as well, so just keep that in mind. Fire eels have a very fast growth rate. They can grow anywhere from 4 to 5 inches in 1 year. So you want to make sure that you're ready to upgrade your aquarium. If you're starting them in a smaller tank, they can definitely knock over your decorations. They also love to dig in the sand, so they can uproot any plants you may have in there. So just make sure that everything that you do have is secure and in place. I really don't always recommend keeping them with live stem plants because, like I said, they'll typically get uprooted, but you can totally keep them in a tank with things like anubias or other epiphytic plants. As I quickly mentioned before, you want to make sure you're keeping them on a sand substrate, as they do like to bury in the sand, and they like to make little impressions underneath wood or rocks where they can hide and feel safe. Even when they're extremely large, this is the case. So providing a nice deep sand bed about 2 inches is ideal. Being a long, slender fish like this, they're definitely 100% prone to jumping out of the aquarium. So you always want to make sure you have a very tight fitting lid with every square inch fully covered. And if you have a cutout for the filtration, you want to make sure that you have something blocking the holes so that they can't get out, because they will find even the tiniest hole to get out of. Being from Southeast Asia, they do prefer a little bit more on the acidic to neutral side of things, so ideally they should be kept anywhere between 6.5 to 7.2. As far as temperature goes, they really like to be kept more between 78 and 82 degrees. Right now I have them at 82 and they're super happy. These fish are opportunistic feeders, so they will eat any fish that will fit in their mouth, so you always want to keep that in mind, especially at their adult size. You want to make sure any fish that you keep them with are not small enough to become food. As far as feeding these fish go, they can be a little tricky. That's one of the hardest parts about keeping fire eels. They are still wild caught, unfortunately. They haven't been able to breed them in captivity. That being said, they can be a little finicky as far as food goes. So the best thing for them, especially to get them eating right away, is to feed live earthworms and live blackworms. That way you can get them eating, get them started, and then typically after that you can get them transitioned to a pelleted food or frozen food or dried food like krill. The good news about these two is they're definitely getting more interested in frozen food. If I wiggle it in front of them, they definitely are showing interest, so that's a great sign so far. Hopefully soon I'll get them eating some frozen food. As far as tank mate compatibility goes, they can be kept with most other Southeast Asian or South American larger fish species. They do really well with things like severums or parrotfish, things of that nature that are large and will not ever be able to get eaten. Right now, I have them kept with smaller fish as they're not big enough to eat them. Down the road, they would definitely call these fish snacks. I personally love these fish because I think they're super personable and interactive. Once they start to feel comfortable in their environment, they really kind of look around, they're looking at you. They're just really neat. They have really cute little faces too, so I just love that about them. They're awesome, awesome fish. These are scaleless fish, so you just want to make sure you're always keeping that in mind whenever medicating the aquarium. You don't want to medicate with super strong meds like copper or salt, as they won't handle it too well. You can still use these medications, but always use it at half dose to make sure that you don't harm them. The good news is they have a very thick slime coat, so this means they're not prone to getting things like parasites or other bacterial infections or fungal infections. But they can get them, especially if kept on incorrect substrate or a sharp objects. They can easily get little cuts and nicks on their body because, again, they're scaleless. And when that happens, they are opened up to bacterial infections. That's a common thing with these as well. So keeping them on a nice, soft, sandy substrate is ideal. Fire eels make a long commitment as they have a lifespan of up to 10 years in captivity. Fire eels are also extremely docile fish. Like I had mentioned, they will eat small fish, but they're just opportunistic. If it'll fit in their mouth, they'll eat it. But they're very peaceful, very passive, and they're not going to ever be aggressive in an aquarium. Well, that concludes our little video here on the fire eel. And if you guys want to check them out, we have them available at all 3 of our locations. So come on in. and check them out. Thank you guys so much, and you know what to do. Keep it fresh, baby.